of all, let me say how glad I am that I'm here. I was really scared to do this, really. Fear is such a fascinating contradiction. To me, it means that I'm alive and I'm passionate about something. But on the other hand, it can be so crippling that will cause me not to want to take the slightest step. The key for me is pushing through it. I'm not saying giving it up, but do what I wanted to anyways. Standing up here, my fear is telling me, you're not good enough to give a TEDx talk, or you don't know any big fancy words. I'm a half Persian, half American who grew up in Iran, so English isn't my first language. You know, I've read so many spiritual books. I've been meditating for years. I've written a spiritual book myself, but I was afraid to do this talk. Does that mean that I'm a failure? This takes me to my subject today, the unrealistic expectations that arise as we walk upon a spiritual journey. You know what? Even if I'm humble, forget some of what I wanted to say, or not use any big fancy words, I'm being myself. And I'm talking about something that I'm passionate about. So even if I fail to live up to the expectations of myself, and maybe others, the fact that I'm doing it, I'll learn so much, and I'll grow in my humanity, just by being human. And that's the biggest success. Being human, I think it all starts and ends there. To me, a human is a beautifully flawed being that has the capacity to face challenges, which lead to more understanding and growth. As humans, we'll never stop learning and making mistakes. Mistakes simply affirm that we're alive, because as long as we live, we're going to have choices to make, we're going to make mistakes, and we'll learn from them. Whatever comes from these challenges, we're going to be a different being, and we'll evolve from them. We're constantly growing, especially when we're failing. So many of us are on a spiritual journey. We all have some great insights on how to make life easier for ourselves and others. But with our insights come unrealistic expectations, internally and externally. I met a friend a few weeks ago, and she was telling me about her ideas about the universe and everything. I was fascinated by it. She then said, I'll write a book about it someday. I asked, why someday? She said, well, I can't write a book now and let people know what I think until I have my whole life together. I said, hold on. Are you planning to stop being a human? She smiled and was wondering what I was getting at. I told her, as long as we're alive and human, we're going to have things to deal with. And you may think that you're not ready to take upon your insights on a daily basis, but you never know whose life you'll change just by sharing them. What she saw in herself, the way she judged her knowledge and where she was on her journey, was actually quite familiar to me. I myself have been dealing with these kind of expectations as I walk down this path. So, I got interested in my spiritual journey when I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis about 11 years ago. MS is a potentially disabling disease of the brain and spinal cord in which the immune system attacks parts of the nerve cells. So that has been a great challenge. My whole life and the lives of everyone in it changed completely in a matter of 3 days. All of a sudden, I'm dealing with burning, numbness, excruciating pain. And my family is not only suffering seeing me go through that, but we're now adjusting themselves and our environment to this new condition. This is when my eyes opened. I got interested in understanding life, and as a result, got curious in death, which took me to exploring it and writing my book, Dying into Life. I started envisioning my death through meditations, and each time I would realize something new that I was missing or regretting about my life. And I thought, hey, start doing these things now so you don't have to regret them later. So I then gathered my new perspective about life and all the things that I wanted to do differently now in dying into life to be able to share it with everyone. What mattered the most was now clear to me. I started looking at each day and each encounter as it was my last. I make sure that the people in my life know how I feel about them, and keep reminding myself that this might just be my last day on earth. And ask myself, what is it you want to do at this moment? That could be calling my parents or going to the beach, and sometimes might just be allowing myself to feel what I'm going through and fall apart. How many of us had times that all we wanted to do was to fall apart just for a little while? I'm in there. But we don't allow ourselves because of the expectations that we or the world has. There's a certain colorful, shimmery image as to how we should feel, act, and be, especially if we're walking down a spiritual path, when sometimes all we are is dark and gloomy, and that is perfect. That is being a human on its journey. Starting this journey and writing my book gave me some amazing insights. I want to share a couple with you. One is that I now see that all beings are one and the same, that we're all derived from the same source of love and wisdom, yet are divinely unique on our own. This helped me understand the diversity in which we each perceive the world around us. Another is that I now appreciate the value of love and sharing it, and try to give love to at least one other person besides my family every day. I tell the cashier that she's beautiful, or the guy in the store that he has nice eyes. If I can make someone's day a little better by these little things, why not? These are some pretty amazing insights, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they come with the unrealistic expectations that I mentioned. God forbid I get hung up on a guy and go through a heartbreak. The judgment comes up inside me and says, don't you know that each relationship has its purposes and that not all are meant to last? Don't you talk about it in your book? What's with the sadness and crying then? In that moment, I expect myself to not be a human being with all its perfect imperfections anymore, just because I'm walking down a spiritual path and I'm gaining great tools along the way. But that's all these are, tools. Tools that as a human, I tend to forget to use sometimes, or that I even have them. The truth is that life is a journey, and going through it means taking so many little steps every single day. I work on myself every day, even if it seems that all I did was move around the house all day. I'm constantly learning, as we all are, and we're gaining great insights along the way. But gaining great insights doesn't mean that we can prevent what may seem as failures, heartbreaks, or setbacks. Life will never be without challenges. And as long as we live, we fear, we cry, we have setbacks, we fail, and we grow. These expectations are external as well. Once you put your ideas out into the world and demonstrate your truth, huge neon signs turn on above your head which say, "Watch every move." You are put in a spotlight by your others and yourself. with this pressure arising for you to be the other symbol of your words, people start looking at you differently and expect you to completely match your ideas at all times. Looking around, I see so many people that are making a great difference in their lives and communities. One is doing his best in his role as a dad, or is taking care of a parent. Another is dealing with being a student, or does volunteer work. But all of a sudden, they're seen as a know-it-all or do-gooder that should have it all together at all times and shouldn't have any failures or setbacks. Once we know of better ways to deal with certain situations, we expect or are expected to be that 100% of the times. Who here has an insight on something that would make their lives a little easier? Some of us do. It's okay. I'm fine. I wasn't watching it. And the ones that do have some insight, who behaves that way every single time it comes up? So can we please stop being so harsh on ourselves and just enjoy being human? Living with an unpredictable autoimmune disease, I'm no stranger to depression and anxiety. There are times that it takes all I've got to not give up and keep going, which to me is being amazingly positive. Even if I cry for a few hours, the fact that I don't give up and can actually feel the things that I'm going through in the moment is the huge growth of that day. But on this way, I've heard some entertaining, unrealistic expectations, but the very cool ones are when I'm being quoted back to myself, if I'm going through a hard day. I'm expected to not have bad days or bad thoughts anymore, just because I'm walking down a spiritual path, and to be able to control the situation as others see fit. There's a part of me that wants to shout out at them saying, "This is me controlling it. I see the truth of what's happening at this moment, and it's okay. It's okay that I want to cry because I'm in pain. It's okay that I want to stay in bed." I had a friend that whenever I was going through a depression period would tell me, "With your education," I studied metaphysics, "and what you teach, you should be a master. You shouldn't be depressed or anxious." As if I was no longer a human being with feelings and emotions going through some challenging human experiences. I was now the books I studied, the meditation sessions I instructed, or now I was my words on a paper. I would tell him that I'm just a human who is going down a spiritual path, and I'm gaining great insights along the way. But that doesn't mean that I can apply them to every single second of my life. I try to live a better life and help others along the way. But I'm still just a human who knows how challenging it is sometimes to be a human. Wherever we are on this journey is the perfect place for us to be. Once you're in that spotlight, a fake idea of mastery starts to overshadow you and watch your every step. Today, I'm here to tell you that having great insights doesn't make us a master. Being able to see the truth of any situation at any given moment makes us a master in life. To me, a master is someone who accepts the human reality without adding to it or taking anything away from it. Someone who sees the truth of any moment without changing it into something else or hiding it, and works at it every single day as long as he or she is alive, one beautiful little step at a time. How wonderful would it be if we stopped invalidating our humanity and embraced all aspects of it. Thank you.